Windows 11 has a lot of features that are switched on by default. Some are great and some are not so great. In this video, I will show you the settings you want to change today that will impact your privacy and improve your Windows experience. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I'll also show you a brand new feature in Windows 11. So let's get started. First off, notifications and ads. First thing we want to do is disable those annoying notifications that pop up when you log into Windows for the first time or as you're working on your day-to-day tasks. So if we come down here, you can see the notifications here. So what we want to do is, to do this, we want to right click on the Windows icon in the taskbar here and hit settings. Once in settings, under system on the left hand side, you want to go to notifications here and disable get tips and suggestions when I use Windows. These two options above have appeared in the cumulative 5 update for Windows 11, which you may have installed. So if you don't see these, don't worry. It's just that you probably haven't run that update. So once you have, you want to come back in here and you can disable those at the same time. Now you want to get rid of those promoted apps that you see popping up all the time. As an example, promoted apps in the start menu, search content on the settings. This is the same for the search results as well. So to do this, we can come into privacy and security, into general, and then we can switch all of these options off, like so. Staying on the topic of privacy, you can change the following Windows features and settings to ensure that you keep more of your own personal information to yourself. Most of these options can be found under privacy and security. So if we click in there now, and we first of all headed the speech. So online speech and recognition, we can switch this off. You'll still be able to use voice typing and dictation, so that's fine. Now we want to go back under privacy and security and click inking and typing personalization. So here under the inking and typing personalization option, this basically allows Windows to capture what you're typing and store things like names, as an example, into a personal dictionary. This is meant to help you type more accurately, but it's not something I'm personally a fan of, so it's what I would recommend actually switching this option off. So let's do that now. Okay, so next back to privacy and security, and then we want to go to Diagnostics and Feedback here. So send optional diagnostic data, that's set to off. I think that's only required if you're in the Insider Microsoft program, which I'm not. And improve inking and typing, we can just make sure that's switched off. So we want all of these options switched off, which they are, but just confirm on your machine that they're also switched off. You can delete diagnostic data. So if these were, as an example, all these settings that were on, we can come in here and literally click delete here to delete those options. And that request, as you can see here, has gone through. Now I want to click on activity history here. So I'm going to uncheck this box here, store my activity history on this device. Apps on your computer may require extra permissions to work correctly. These could be accessing your location, your microphone, your camera, as an example. This makes sense sometimes, but not always. So let's have a look and check now. Under privacy and security again. So you can see under app permissions here, we've got it grouped under categories. It is a long list, so I would recommend that you go through each one at your leisure and make that choice as to which options you allow. So we'll go through a couple together to give you an idea, and then like I say, you can go through the rest of them by yourself. But if we have a look at location, you can see actually it's location switched off. You can switch off if you want. That's like a global setting, so if you switch it off, it'll switch it on for everything. I recommend obviously keeping that off, and then if there's any applications in here that you want, as an example, to have access to your location, like your mail as an example, you can then switch it on individually as required. So back to privacy, and now we'll go down to into the microphone one, which I think is an interesting one. And already you can see there's quite a few places that use the microphone that you may not want. Example, Cortana, a desktop app viewer, feedback hub, Microsoft Store. I can only think in that scenario is that's because you want to maybe say what you want to download, but it's not something I would personally use myself. So it's a very personal settings page, so you want to go through and really work out what's best for you. But if you don't want anything at all to work on the microphone, you can just switch it all off at the top here. So back into app permissions, if we go to camera, let's take a look in here. So again, we've got things like the feedback hub here, so we can obviously switch that off. Microsoft Store, don't think we really need the camera for that. But again, as you can see, it's personal to how you use it. If you use the camera, if you don't use the camera on your machine, then you could obviously switch it off. If you don't want the camera at all, again, you switch off all the options. So under app permissions, I would recommend personally just going through all of these and making your selection for what works best for you. Like I say, if you're watching this video and you're going to start to make some changes to your system, we recommend that you take a system restore point of Windows 11 before you make any of these changes. So I've got a video on that, and I'll drop it in the link below for you if you need that. Today there are a lot of apps that you don't want installed on your system that you can download from pretty much anywhere on the internet. So to safeguard yourself from downloading something accidentally from the wrong location, you can come into here and click on apps and features, and you can see at the top here it says choose where to get apps, and it's at the moment it's set to anywhere, which means you can download from the entirety of the internet, which is probably not recommended. So you've got the option of Microsoft Store was the recommendation option, or the other two options. I would probably say also I would suggest not leaving on anywhere, but choosing one of the other options. In this case I'm going to go with the Microsoft Store only. So with this option set, it'll only let you download applications on the Microsoft Store and not from anywhere else on the internet. So it's a more secure option for you. So the next section is disabling programs at startup. So this is a list of programs that launch when you boot Windows. So by actually minimizing this list and keeping it under control, this will help with resources on your machine, improve your boot time, and it's going to lower the CPU and processor usage. So to check the current list of what apps are in the startup menu, we want to go into apps, and then we want to head it into at the bottom here into startup. So you can see here there's Windows gives you a list of the applications that are set to launch. Obviously we can see the ones that are on, and it also gives you a rating of what impact they have. Obviously, now I would definitely say if you are going to make changes here, definitely ensure that you've got a backup of your data, just in case. It's always good to make sure that you have a backup of your data, and also take a system restore point. Like I say, there will be a link in the description below, but you can actually obviously change these settings itself. So as an example here, if you're not using Microsoft OneDrive, you don't need it to boot, so you can literally have that switched off. I'm not using Microsoft Edge, so I can switch that off. If we had Cortana switched on, as example, you can switch that off. So you want to go through your applications and review that. And also when you're actually making changes, I wouldn't say make all the changes at the same time. Change maybe one or two, restart, reload the system. So by the end of this, what you want to achieve is just have a small section of the apps that you use, or the core applications that you use, set to on, and anything else switched off. And that's going to help with, like I say, your boot times on your system and your overall CPU and processor usage, which is going to improve your experience. So another thing that you may want to get rid of is the pinned application. So if you close this menu down here, and if you click on the windows, you can see these pinned applications of the most recent applications documents that you've used. If you like a tidier, more desktop, you may want to get rid of these. I'm not really a fan of it myself, but again, if you come in And also, if you go into the File Explorer, you'll have the recent applications here when you're using those. So if you want to get rid of these, you can go into Windows, right click on the Windows icon, go into Settings. So in the personalization menu here, you want to go down to Start, and then we want to switch off Show Recent Added Apps. So Show Recent Open Apps, Startup, Jump List, and File Explorer. So let's get rid of those here. So if we come back into the menu here, you can see that actually those applications have been removed. There's also another nice option where you can actually add some sections into the folder, so you can jump straight to those. So still staying in the personalization menu, if we go to folders here, you can actually set what you want. So if you want to jump to the File Explorer, your documents, your downloads, and your pictures, and I should say that's probably it. You can select all these to on, and when we come back into here, you can actually see you've got instant jumps to your documents, your downloads, pictures, and such like. So if I click the pictures as an example, it'll take you straight there. So that's a nice option. I do like that. That's one that I am personally a fan of. So like I did promise at the beginning of the video, if you stick around to the end, I'll give you the extra feature that's been included in Windows 11, which I think is great. So now if we come down into the taskbar here next to the time, you've got the option for the the network access. If we click on that one, you've got now have the option for the night light. So that removes the blue light. So when you're working late at night, you can actually switch that on and use that. So I'll switch it on now, and you may be able to see it actually changes the screen there. But yeah, give it a go at late in the evening or at night, or even now when you're working, you'll see it actually will adjust the screen for you. I think that's a nice touch. It wasn't there before in Windows 10, and it's something they've added. I do have a video though on a third-party application called f.lux, which I will link in the description below. I suppose that one does a very similar thing to this. It actually has more features in the way in which it actually gradually dims the actual screen, or removes that blue light gradually in the evening, so it'll actually progressively get darker and darker over a set period, where this one's more sort of, I suppose, binary, if you will, and it's on and off. I'll link it to, like I say, I will put that in the description below if you want to watch that video. So that's all from me from Q3 Tech Zone, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope it's been informative, and I'd like to see you in the next video.